Greetings of the day, everybody. My name's Kritika Saran, and I'm here with Zenil today. And he is going to mentor us about seeking discomfort. And so we'll be talking about seeking discomfort today, Zenil. It's a topic that you suggested. So I had this question in my mind. Is it like something that you intuitively or purposely put yourself into hardships, or uh, deeper meaning associated with it? What is it?
Sure. So, firstly, thank you, Kritika and Team Growjunction for having me here. You guys are doing a fabulous job of curating stories across the industries, and I'm already a fan and learning from your page, right? So, having said that, talking about the topic for today, seek discomfort or seeking discomfort. It doesn't actually have to do much with the pain or the real suffering or hardship part of it, to be honest. It is more about dealing with and embracing change, and that's what maybe that's the idea of having this as a topic. And let me put it in this manner. How long are you going to wait before you actually ask the best for yourself? Ideally not much, right? You want the best for yourself at all the time. To get the best for yourself, if you want it, you need to put in effort. You need to grow. You can't be stagnant at a place. So that's where
Absolutely.
growth is important. That's where discomfort is important. So be hungry for growth, seek and embrace discomfort.
Thanks a lot for explaining that to us. I was thinking कि हम purposely खुद के पैरों पे कुल्हाड़ी मार ले.
Not much. In fact, it is sort of like that as well. But yes, it is a lot fun when you are growing and you're evolving every single time.
Absolutely, I must agree with that. Jokes apart, it is important to grow, and it is important to take challenges. If you're in your comfort zone, and if you're going to stick with it always, you're never going to grow. So I think getting out of the this comfort zone is very important too, and that is where that discomfort sets in, right?
So the day you are, finding a shoe that fits or that doesn't fit your size, maybe buy that shoe. So you will be highly discomfort, you will not be comfortable and you will be highly annoyed at it. But I think you will grow or come out of it well. Jokes apart, I think I'm sure you've got the core idea behind the topic. So yes, tell me what's in for today.
There is like, can we have a deeper look into your career and your profession? Like, you were an engineer and you carved your way to a country brand manager at Pfizer. So how is it going, and how did it go, and how did you actually, did you plan it, and was it like it just fell into your hands, or what about that?
So frankly, my career journey has been quite non-linear, and fortunately, it has been blessed. When I say non-linear, as you said, I am an engineer turned an MBA and pursuing my career in the domain of marketing. Uh, and this, I believe, is a quite common a path for a lot of students today, where engineering becomes like a ticket to actually go towards higher education, towards masters in science or maybe MBA, and that's where and nothing wrong with that, and that's where your mindset starts developing. If you go deeper, during engineering, I was a student representative, so that point of time I missed no opportunity to speak up and to participate in various extracurriculars that were there. That helps you in a way, maybe open up, talk about yourself and deal with various situations that you are put into. So that during my engineering, apart from of course the knowledge and the textbook part, helped a lot. During my MBA, during my post graduation, life is still fun. Okay, it's all good and it's great. However, you tend to get more focused, more career oriented, because just in a year or two you're going to enter the industry, you're going to pursue a career. Everyone has dreams and passion and all of that, so hence you tend to get more focused. But at the same time, I did ensure that not just the textbook knowledge or not just the bookish learnings, I also found maybe learnings across even the smallest things that we did, right from managerial skills to even teamwork to even presentations and all of that. Because uh, I'm not sure that how much textbook knowledge would help you apart from these things. These are certain things that actually help you on a day-to-day basis in an organization. Simple Excel sheet, a lot of us do not know Excel even during our MBA. But when you are in a new organization and you have to prepare certain reports, analyze, prepare a pivot table, you need to know basics. So all these basics you can learn in groups, in teams, from someone who knows it, rather than finding a textbook and learning that extra. That's never going to happen, to be honest. You won't
Yeah.
find an extra textbook or an extra subject. So hence all of those skills during my management helped me carve my skill set and learn certain basics that are absolutely essential today. Moving on to my journey further, to my start of my career, the one great thing that happened with me was I got a PPO where I interned. So when you have that, you have a cushion, you have a you have already secured a place even before you pass out, right? And that gave me a lot of scope to maybe experiment in my first 2 to 3 years, where I started my career with Reliance Jio Infocom Limited. Was a part of a small team, even before the launch of Jio. So that's
Mm.
where we saw this journey of Jio launching Jio, and post that uh, becoming a part of this team of marketing and advertising that saw all the viral campaigns on TV, right from Jio Dandanadan to even various brands, associated partner brands with Jio. So that's where my career started, and with one of the largest startups of the country, right? And that's where I started, got a chance to experiment, right from business development to creatives to even strategy to planning to production to execution. Got to do a lot of it. But I would say that's still not my career. That was my experiment phase. The career part comes a little later, when you realize what your niche is, what you like to do, and maybe
Yeah.
what comes naturally to you, what are certain skill set that you have developed. And that's where I went ahead. The journey became quite entrepreneurial for me at Geo Creative Labs, which is a creative wing of Geo. And that's where I led a specific vertical that provided digital solutions to brands, to personalities, and overall it was a great learning experience. Post that, maybe I got this bright opportunity, at another bright opportunity, I would say. And on a very great note, I had to say adios to Geo, which remains my extended family as of date. And I went towards an international or a global kind of a journey to a global organization, Pfizer Limited. And that's where I currently look at country brand management for all the digital initiatives. So I provide, say, a lot of business solutions, or work towards providing business solutions from a digital first perspective, and also a part of the entire transformation journey, the digital transformation journey of the organization. So lots of great things in place, and all the discomfort that I have had from engineering to MBA to, or the extracurriculars to an advertising and communications brand of Geo, to even say a pharmaceutical industry. So all has been disjointed, different, and that's what has helped me gain like an overall experience to uh, thrive and do better in whatever I could attempt to do. Yes, so that's a detailed journey. I have shut you up for say maybe a minute and a half.
It is quite a detailed journey. So over here, it is a quite a detailed journey. So over here, like I'd like to talk about the niche building that you did, right? So it is important, like I want to know from your perspective how important it is to build your niche. And sometimes people think that, okay, now that we are landed up in an internship, or maybe we have a job, we have to stick with it. It comes with a lot of challenges if we change, or if we experiment with our career now. So, what is it like? Do you think that it is a good idea to experiment, or do you think it is a good idea to actually change your niche and change your career in search of a niche? So, what is your view on that?
Firstly, be open to everything, and it does take time to find out what your niche is. You might,
Yeah.
just immediately sometimes, not click with a specific job role, and you might just switch in the first year itself or a second year itself. But sometimes, if you don't know, or maybe you are still figuring out, then it's wise to give it time. And in my case also, maybe I did that unless I figured out what I would like to do. That's where I stuck to one specific job, and it was highly rewarding in terms of learning and the exposition that I got, right? So that's where the idea is to, it's subjective to people. I would not say that you should switch jobs immediately or you should not switch jobs immediately. If sometimes you are not clicking somewhere and you feel that you cannot relate, or maybe you are not growing, or some things that don't work out the best for you, then maybe you can take a call. However, if you are still figuring out and you are still experimenting, give it some time, maybe figure out after some time. And still if it doesn't work, then please feel free to go out, experiment. A lot of people change industries, change the career. A lot of them have, say, maybe HR, maybe an HR degree, and work for a marketing brand and all of that. So all of that happens, and it's completely okay, completely normal. So give it time, maybe, is my suggestion. Have enough knowledge and make an informed decision.
So experimenting, like it does come with then discomfort, right? So it is a slight kind of a discomfort that may be followed by experimenting. So, like, what's your view on that?
Absolutely. So I'll just give you an example. Today people want a lot of highly paid jobs, you know, so and so packages, and there are lots of expectations, and there is nothing wrong with that, right? However, one needs to understand that when will someone offer you a high paid salary, a high compensation. That would happen with your high skills, the
Yeah.
highly, attained skills. So first, develop your skill set. That would come with experimentation. That would come with having a deeper sense of the industry that you are into. Maybe once you develop that, then there is a specific demand, then there is a specific niche that you have developed for yourself, for which you get highly compensated in the industry. Another example being, there is a difference between managers and leaders, right? Managers maybe, and I am a manager right now, right? So managers maybe have a decision making power, also operationalize a lot of functions in the organization. However, a leader is visionary. A leader will direct the entire course of the managers, the company, the people, and everything. So a leader is a much more larger responsibility.
Yeah.
And do you think the leader knows everything from the beginning? The leader knows about HR, finance, operations, sales, everything? No, right?
Absolutely.
They face it on the go, and maybe some of it they know, some of it they have a great attitude to solve it, and that's where they are leaders. So that's also one of the things, that it is a highly uncomfortable position to be a leader, to face new challenges every day. So that's what seeking discomfort might lead you towards, ultimately. Yeah.
Also, if one wants to become a leader, they must be open to learning and unlearning. That is my favorite go-to, and I think that's what I would always abide by. It's important to learn. However, it is more important to and relearn at the same time. So, would you agree on that?
So it is about evolving every day. If you are stationary and say, that's what, it's an evolving mindset rather than a growth mindset.
Hmm.
Meaning, if you have certain skills and knowledge, you need to have that attitude to learn new things. Say 10 years back, if I told you that, if you dance on a social media platform, you will get lakhs of rupees, you would not believe me, right? You would say that this is stupid. Why would I get paid so much for dancing on an Instagram or a Facebook? But today you do that, right? Because there is a lot of learnings. And if this I told to someone who is a very, very senior guy, and 10 years back, even he couldn't have imagined it, right? That you could get paid so much. So hence one needs to evolve, figure out the future, be quite, I don't know how to be a leader. We are all exploring, experimenting, right? That's where one needs to be quite futuristic in thought process. uh, think about and consider about, say, all possible outcomes, and maybe learn every single day, relearn every single day. And that's where the dynamic part of the leadership comes in.
Yeah. Thank you for putting it in a simpler way to understand. So, Zenil, like, would you like to summarize some of your top learnings for our listeners?
Sure. So, one most important learning that, we were just discussing about learning, relearning, unlearning. So, my top takeaway till now has been that, knowledge is very powerful. So, empower yourself with enough knowledge. So, if you feel that you lack certain domain expertise or you lack certain skill sets, go learn it. There are lots of distance learning courses. There are lots of organizations with or institutions you can associate yourself with during your career. You can do weekend sessions and all of that. I did one of it. I was a part of the MICA postgraduate digital branding course, where I used to learn on weekends and ensure that there is no gap as such which I'm unaware of, right? Be it technical digital branding, technical digital marketing, or anything. And that was during my initial years of joining Jio. So that's what even I did. So I would always recommend that empower yourself with knowledge. It's a powerful tool, and we all have heard that knowledge is light. It guides you towards the best possible outcomes. And the second learning I would say that is my favorite, and I adopted it from somewhere. It's called growth is life. So keep growing. I think that's where life would thrive faster.
Yeah. The- Even we don't age backwards, we are always we're aging, right? So we never age backwards. So it's about growing ahead, and it's about staying.
So as you rightly said, one thing is aging and one thing is growing. So don't just age, you need to grow, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, Zenil, what were like your inspiration throughout this career journey? Like, were there any people involved, or were there any institutions, or anything else that you would
You're
like to
asking so many you're asking so many deep questions, and making it so philosophical. uh,
mention? I would certainly say that you made it philosophical. I'm just taking your thing forward. That's it.
so maybe there are lots of people, lots of leaders, lots of individuals that I have been associated with and got a chance to, of course, a lot of global leaders that I admire as well. One such person during my engineering days, or one such individual I have been following since my younger days was Steve Jobs. And that's where that entire idea of how creative could one be, how did he actually redefine what brand building is, right from the scratch. All said and done, he was a showman. He knew how to market his brand, right? So all of those things really, really inspired me, and I read a lot about him, got inspired during my engineering days. And of course, while I am a civil engineer, I always thought I can always build a phone as well, because it was so much inspirational to me. So I think that helped me somewhere develop and added to my personality, I would say. Another interesting personality that I always was a fan of, to be honest, is an Indian personality, Shri Dhirubhai Ambani. Again, he actually is a visionary who revolutionized the way we do business in the country, right? And that's the most hitting thing that stayed with me throughout. And that's where I also adopted the slogan, the philosophy of growth is life, from Reliance, right? So that is something that I highly believe in, and that's also imbibed in my core belief system. So these are maybe the two names I would say. Of course, my present bosses, my ex bosses, and all of those have been such real time leaders. On a daily basis, I observed them, learned a lot of things from them. So all these, there are so many names if I were to take, and that's where there is inspiration all around. And fortunately, it has been a blessed journey.
That's amazing. It's so nice to hear about. And how much do you think it is important to have an inspiration or a role model so that you can look up to that person?
Okay, so see, there are say hardly a few percent of people who might be, say, self-aware from the beginning, who know what they want to do, and these are legends who actually end up changing the world, right? But I believe that a vast majority do not have a direction from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I would belong to that majority where I did not know, I did not have a specific direction. Maybe I had dreams and aspirations, but I did not know how to approach it. So that's where the role of a leader, or say an inspirational personality, comes in. And of course there are lots of personalities out there who have excelled in their careers, who have been founders of some of the biggest organizations and all of that. But what inspires and what touches you the most ends up becoming a part of you as well, ends up shaping your journey as well. So it is hence damn important to have, say, uh, an inspirational personality to look up to. More importantly, you need to have mentors or leaders or coaches at various phases of your life, and that you might find from the industry, that you might find from some of your friends who are, or maybe your seniors, college seniors, who could guide you in your career journey in the initial phase. Once your initial phase is done with, you have quite some experience, then I think you can navigate your own way. So until that stage, at least you need to have all those motivational stuff that I just spoke about.
So Zenil, like moving a little apart from the philosophical stuff that we're talking about. So coming to a little what do you call it? Some real life situations. Also, they are also real life situations, but something that majority of audience would want to hear from you. So what like so talking about LinkedIn, we approached you via LinkedIn, right? So,
Yeah.
how do you say that a person who's looking for a job or a career should optimize their platforms, or most importantly, LinkedIn, to get into a job, or to find a job find a job role that is suitable for them?
Sure. So, firstly, I would say that there are, of course, a lot of LinkedIn experts and coaches out there who are there to guide. But, however, if I were to put some of my learnings and share, because you have asked, because of course, a lot of people have asked this question to me as well. What do you do with LinkedIn? It's a different kind of a beast. How do you manage it? What do you do there? So, the most important thing here is that LinkedIn has a specific language. Okay. So, you need to first understand what that language is. It is about maybe storytelling, it is about appreciation, it is about starting new journey. And a lot of people post certain things, congratulations, thank you, and all of that. So it has that language you need to figure out. And of course it's ever evolving, there are lots of buckets under this. So you need to figure that out, and maybe for yourself what works for you, you need to start using it on LinkedIn, right? By
Yeah.
using it, I mean, there has to be, you need to create a pull mechanism. Basically choose a niche and start creating content, right? Do not think what people would think about you, or would they judge your content or your writing, or shall I put a video. Nowadays a lot, we are all aware that people are using video resumes, but do you find people making video resumes and uploading on LinkedIn? No, right? Very few people might be just putting a video resume up, because maybe they are shy to talk on the camera, or maybe uh, they don't want to be judged. But that's the whole point. Use LinkedIn wisely. Do not think what others will think. Maybe you will have to struggle initially for 6 months to build a substantial audience, to post content regularly, have your own content calendar, like how you have on social media, right? On other forms of social media, being Insta, Facebook, YouTube, all of that. So that's the first part of it. Second part is keep the hygiene correct. A lot of users today on LinkedIn do not have a cover photo, or the about section is not clearly mentioned. They have not actually explained what they are good at. You need to explain that too, maybe in a
Yeah.
format which is understandable. Points always work. Pointer format, 1 2 3 4 5, these are my skill sets. That would highly make it easy for recruiters to scan you and shortlist you. And that's what also creates a pull mechanism. There is a recommendation section. Ask out your professors, if you're a student, or if you have started your career, ask out your colleagues and your seniors to actually send some recommendations for you on LinkedIn. So that's where you could get great comments about yourself, and that does matter, because today any organization looks at employees who might be, or maybe, of course, there might be certain exceptions, but anyone would not like to risk the reputation of the organization, to get
Yeah.
associated with someone who might not have been highly talked about. So hence you need people to talk highly about yourself. So
Yes.
recommendations, you need to collect. Maybe the skill endorsement section, where you mention certain skills and you have people talking about what you are really good at. So all these things matter. So there are, so just to summarize, there are two things. One, keep the hygiene correct. Second, create a pull mechanism. Have your niche, post content regularly. So I think these two things, apart from, maybe we can go on and on for a 1 hour session, but
Yeah.
just to summarize, these are maybe just two key points to start off with.
So, Zenil, so talking about resumes, so what do you think that make a resume more defined, and what are the key elements that one could add to their resume, which the recruiter might think that this person's really good for the job role that we have open in a company. So, what do you think about that?
So I remember, the other day when we were talking, Kritika, a lot of your colleagues and students across want to know how to build a resume or a CV, and how to go about LinkedIn, how to apply for jobs and all of that. So the first thing about resume is that you need to define the purpose, write very specifically and answer all those 5 W's: what, why, when, and all of those questions, and how much. So majorly, I'm talking about two things. Write about, first, your specific contribution in the project, and second, what impact did it create. So if you have done, say, a social media campaign, then say how many impressions or say call to actions have you generated for that campaign. So quantifying the impact is as important as writing your contribution there. If you are, say, a copywriter, then say you've written copies for, say, XYZ, and the contribution, the response that it got, the engagement that it got, or something like that. So hence, write your contribution and the impact that it generates. That's the first part of it. Another part being, customize your resume as per the job description. There are so many brands out there who have certain keywords mentioned in their job description, right? They want specific individuals. So use certain keywords from those JD and include them in your resume. Having said that, because if, say, there is a lot of brands have say AI driven filters to actually shortlist your resume. They will only shortlist if you have those keywords. So be very
Yes.
wise to use those keywords, identify them, and include them in your JD. There are online apps also to actually help you shortlist certain keywords out of the given JD. Do search them out. Maybe a homework for you. So that's the first, another part, and you don't have to write everything. Maybe, a lot of times we have so much experience, we have done this, that during our college days, and we want to write everything in the. Don't write that. Stick to what the JD is before submitting your resume. So figure out multiple JDs, read across different profiles for the same role across different companies. So if, say, the role is, say, of a brand manager, then see what a brand manager at an X brand is doing, what a brand manager's JD at a Y brand is, and that's where you will have an industry knowledge before you even apply, right? So all these things would help you sail through, find out, the best format you should submit your resume in, get shortlisted, and how do you tackle the questions, what questions can you expect in the interview. So all of this is quite, correlated. Don't make it, again, text heavy. You cannot have so much text. You need to choose a good format. Maybe go to Canva, choose a good format of resume, and that's how you could start great at that very note of designing it.
Yeah. So over here, if our followers or our viewers, like, they want to know that where they can go and build their resumes, so there are few websites that I'd like to name here. This is not sponsored from any of one of them. So it's Canva. It's Google. So you can use Google as well. They have it in the I think in the docs. And also you can go for Novo Resume. You can go for Zeti. And if you just make a search on your on Google engine, search engine. So you can find a couple of pages that can actually offer you free resumes. So not sponsored again. It's just my piece of advice for my.
In fact, that gives me a lot of knowledge, and I would now figure out these websites and all. But idea is, to have your thought process correct. Don't forget, don't lose track of what you want to say and the objective of the resume while you go across these websites. There will be, of course, tons of them. And even if you just Google right now and ask Google, then it will tell you 10 more websites, right? But how to use them wisely is something that we would be definitely focusing upon.
Yeah. So Zenil, just this one question. So the question was like, since I'm an HR enthusiast, right? So how would you recommend me to quantify my resume?
Sure. So there are a lot of ways through which we can navigate through the answer. The first thing is that definitely see the JD first. What are you expected to do? Is this HR role for say maybe talent acquisition, or is it for the maybe back office, or certain other roles under function, or HR as a strategic business partner, or what kind of role is it? So first look at that. Once you figure that out, then secondly, you should then prioritize your learnings or your projects across your college. Maybe you have done some project here and there or as a part of your curriculum. So what you find the most important and relevant to the specific JD, put that on the top, right? Once you do that, quantify that in say real numbers, saying that maybe what impact did it create, and if say it is not about numbers, then put a qualitative impact. So
Hmm.
if say, for example, if you have interned somewhere during your college tenure, and that's where your role was again to shortlist candidates, the first round of interviews, and then hand it over to the senior HR or something. So then say that you have scanned through say 100 resumes. You have actually gone through certain things. So if there is a specific role, you can tell me, I can give you how to quantify that. If there is no number to that, then maybe just write about the impact that you could create on a day-to-day basis. How
Yeah.
did your day look like there? So you need to ensure that the person comes to know how much business could you contribute towards, be it in terms of numbers, be it in terms of the effort that you are putting. See, effort and hard work everyone is doing, that's given, right? All those 8, 9, 10 hours of the day, everyone has to maybe be a part of a corporate, but
Yeah.
how much impact are you creating matters. So always have impact as an objective in mind and prepare your resume.
And I think that's a great tip to include what the JD is suggesting you to, according to your JD. So, including words from JD in your resume is a great tip. I think I'll do that from next time onwards. I apply to any internship or anything. I'll definitely do that. That's a great tip. So, then, like moving forward, so there are so many students of my age who actually want to land up in a good internship, because internship, even if if you're pursuing MBA, or maybe if you're pursuing an undergrad course, so internship is something that is a stepstone for your future career, for future opportunities. So
Yeah.
how do you recommend, like how do you tell someone, how do you judge that if that internship is suitable for them, and if that person is also suitable for the internship?
Sure. So what I'm going to say maybe is also relevant to jobs and not just internships. So how to maybe apply for appropriate internships, or how to apply for appropriate jobs for yourself, right? So that should be maybe the question, if that helps answer your things, right?
Yeah,
So the
absolutely.
first one is that there are different kinds of levers. There are three levers majorly. The first lever that people look at is the brand name. Now that can be a startup, that can be a semi seasoned organization, or that can be like an MNC that has been there since ages. So brand name is one lever that people look at. Second lever people look at is the role that they are getting on a day to day basis. What are they supposed to do? What is the job description, right? And what is in it for them? What would be their learning based on this role? And the third thing is, of course, compensation, right? So majorly brand name, uh, the role, and the compensation are the three levers that people look at usually when it comes to a job or say an internship. ideally there is no, in an ideal case scenario, only will you be able to find a balance between these three. It is highly unlikely for even brands to provide such kind of a balance where it's a maybe a great brand name, it's a great role, but maybe the compensation doesn't work out. Or if the compensation and the role work out, maybe you don't want to work with a brand. So you might have certain biases, preferences, all of that. So that's normal, right? So hence, to find out a balance between these three is quite difficult. So you need to prioritize as the first thing. So maybe if you want to intern to start off with, you can say that, okay, maybe because I have lesser of a skill set, less of a skill set, I can focus on a good brand where I would learn from, and I would focus on the role, right, rather than the compensation part, because compensation can be basic, or can be, whatever the brand is comfortable, or the or an agency, or wherever you prefer to work, right? So that's okay. So hence the first two levers you might focus upon and apply only in that direction, so you are not wasting your time finding out. Or if say compensation is the most important lever for you, then don't look at anything. I will go where I'm paid well, because that is also a lot of people think in that sense as well, right? So there is nothing, there is no right answer, wrong answer here, but these are the ways. So you need to decide for yourself. Maybe when you are moving towards a job, and you know that while I am a student, I have certain internships and certain skill sets till now, I am okay to be, or I need say a great compensation and a great brand name. Role, I'm okay to experiment the role in the first 2 years.
Yeah.
So even
Hmm.
the role you can, keep in the experimentation phase, focus on the brand name and the compensation. So that's another method. Finding all three in the first stage might be difficult. You might be able to find a balance or adjust to all the three at a later stage, maybe in your career, when you have probably grown into a seasoned individual. You are
Yeah.
working with a brand that you always wanted to work with, and you are having a great role. Your JD is quite apt for you. There is a great fair amount of compensation that you're happy with. So all of that balance comes later. First, you need to select out of the levers and focus accordingly, and that's how you apply for internships. Again, it's you should be okay to experiment. One such example, I would give is that people in the initial, in specifically in the marketing as a domain, so there is of course strategy, there is sales, there is all of it, there are all of these verticals functions in marketing. A lot of people in the initial stage of career, are quite petrified of sales. And there is quite a misunderstanding about sales and business development. Even it's different, by the way, both of it are quite different, but still people say, no, I don't want to do BD, I don't want to do sales. And that's
Yeah.
my personal experience. People have come and told me when I was interviewing people for certain roles, right, that I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. Maybe you should be open to experiment. And as a matter of fact, sales is one of the most important functions of a business. If there is no sales, there is no business, right? There are no other functions. There is no operations, maybe there is no new hiring or new HR to manage for you, right? Or there is no operations, or there is no marketing. So first, it's, so sales, I believe, is one of the most important verticals. And once you develop across sales, once you look at even business development as a whole, that's where you could develop into a greater, professional, is what I believe. So hence, be open to experiment. Don't say, no, I don't want to do this. Don't be, too clumsy in that mindset. Or maybe in HR, people don't want to do X vertical under HR. They just want to be strategic partners always. I don't want to do, say, recruitments maybe, or I want to only do recruitments. Or say in operations, I want to work at a factory, or I don't want to work at a factory, I will just do maybe the computer work. So don't be quite, hesitant in everything. Maybe be open in the initial phase. Internships are the best places to experiment. Either you find the best internship and you stay there and apply for a PPO if you like it, because that's ideal. But if you don't, then there is a lot of learning. You would know that what you are comfortable with and what you are not. So hence, during your job, during your career, starting point of your career, you would probably excel because you have a lot of learnings from your internship.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks a lot for this answer. I think it helps many people from my age, and for people who are actually looking for internships. So, as you mentioned, like compensation part, also it plays a major role in determining the wealth of the company. So if they are paying you well, so people are usually like, okay, if they're paying well, I think अच्छी ही होगी company अगर मुझे ये सब मिल रहा है, if I'm getting all these things, and on top of it they're paying well, so I think they also assume that the company is really good. So about that, like,
Kritika, I would just like to, say that, while, see, of course, definitely, compensation is one of the key elements, levers for a lot of us, right? However, the direct correlation that because a company is paying well, it might be a great company is not maybe always true,
yeah,
right? It might not always be true. And with all due respect to all the corporates and organizations around, there might be certain, it might be true if you are fitting for that role. But if you are paid well and tomorrow you realize that your skill set doesn't match what they are expecting out of you, maybe then it's a, so it also depends on what you want from the corporate and not just the compensation part of it. You might maybe just looking at the compensation, you might join an organization and then you realize maybe this is not the right place for me, and then you will want to,
absolutely.
move out and all of that. So there are lots of things one needs to consider. Hence the second lever of job role, job responsibility comes in, right? So all three levers are quite important. It's
Important.
not always just about the compensation. And hence at internship stage, it is good to experiment, if there is a lesser compensation or something, which I don't, I won't support that, it should be lesser or any, but if still there is, but if the role is great, if you feel there is merit working there, please go for it. Don't think on the third lever that point of time.
Yeah, yeah. So, last question, my last question, my hot burning questions. So, my last question would be: what are the key takeaways for the audience who are pursuing their career, and who are maybe who are engineers, or maybe who are pursuing an MBA, and maybe who want to go into the line of country brand managing, or maybe a brand manager itself. So, any key takeaways for them, or any key takeaways in general?
Okay, so I think one important point that even I realized and we brought out during this conversation itself was that start working for the best for yourself. Ask for the best for yourself always and work for it. You need to, do that. And while you're doing that, be positive. uh, be, it's all about the energy that you give out. So hence always be positive, have great energy, and hence seek and embrace discomfort.
All right. So, thank you so much, Zenil, for joining us today. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I really enjoyed our seeking discomfort. um, I was expecting you to put me into that discomfort situation by asking me some burning questions in return, but it didn't happen, and thank God. So, anything else you want to talk about? And once again, thanks a lot for joining us today. And it's a privilege that I have interacted with you, and Grow Junction's getting an opportunity to talk to you.
Kritika, what are your ambitions? I'll put you in discomfort, right? How do you
Okay.
feel? How do you feel? Where do you see yourself 10 years down the line? And I can put you in a lot discomfort. Maybe I'm just being kind today. Yeah.
So, please be kind to me. It's I don't want it to be an interview. I made it a conversation for you. Please don't make it an interview for me. So,
Just kidding. Just kidding.
all right. So, thanks a lot again, Zenil, and thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you.
Absolutely my pleasure, and all the best wishes to you and team at Growjunction. Please bring forth a lot of good stories from people across the industry. Would always love to hear what people have to say about their careers and journeys. And I hope this conversation of our does help you and the listeners around. Uh, Definitely feel free to connect. LinkedIn is the best medium, and that's where I'm always a people's person, so would love to interact and talk more. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right.